Hello, I have finally achieved my impossible objective to become the first player on the leaderboard of Akai Katana Shin on Steam. So I'm making this video to share my passion for the game and show my run to people so that other players can be inspired to take the game and play for themselves. So let's start with the replay. I'm going to talk about the basic mechanics of the game in the first few stages, and then talk about what makes this game really good, in my opinion, and really fun to play at all levels. So if you really want to learn how to play the game, I made a 2-hour long guide on my channel. I put the link in the description. So if that's what you want, I recommend this video instead. But if you want to see the run, it's right now. So in this game, there is a specific gameplay loop, which is to collect resources, to build katanas, throw them on enemies to get points. So you'll see, I use my rapid shot here. I'm getting those steel items. It's feeding some red spheres around my plane. I can switch to another form, which is called phantom form, and throw steel orbs, which correspond to the red spheres I had. And when those steel orbs touch an enemy, they come back with a katana. And by throwing the katanas, I'm getting the points. So you see again, throwing the orb, katanas are coming to me, and I can use the katanas to destroy the maximum amount of enemies to get the maximum amount of points. We're doing it again. We're getting those green items as well by using the regular shot, because when we start the level we have a small amount of this green energy. You see the green bar above. So we don't need to get the energy at the start of the level, but once we changed into the phantom mode now we have an empty energy gauge, so we have to get those items. With the first boss we can review this logic. So I'm getting the steel, you see, by using my rapid shot. So I'm not doing that much damage with the rapid shot. And when I use the regular shot, I'm getting energy. So I'm coming back to my rapid shot. Now I'm switching to the regular shot. I'm doing more damage. And I have enough energy and I have enough orbs, so I can switch to the phantom mode. And when you're in phantom mode, you have this big shot, which is extremely powerful, and it's also generating an item, which is called a katana part. So you can also get katanas while you're already into phantom mode by destroying enemies with this very powerful shot, because it will give you katana parts. You'll see it again here. I have already some energy, so I don't get energy. I get just steel. You see, I didn't have that many red orbs, but now I'm killing enemies with the katana shot, and I'm getting more katanas by collecting katana parts. So in this phase, you'll see, look, there is a red bar on the left of the screen. You see, it's getting emptier. You see, now it's full again, because that's the combo gauge. And in this game, you fill your combo gauge by getting items which are not energy items. So every time you're getting steel, you're getting points, you're getting katana parts, you fill your combo gauge. But as soon as you stop getting those items, the combo gauge starts dropping. So that's how the game is balanced. You have to get energy in very short bursts, and then you're only getting steel or katana parts. So the combo gauge is very important, because how the points are calculated. Once you reach around 10,000 hits, you get more points from your combo gauge than from actually killing the enemies. And in longer levels, you will even reach 30,000, 40,000 hits. So you're getting like 80%, 90% of your points from your combo guard. So that's very important. It's not as punishing as in a game like Dodonpachi. You have a bit of time. There are only some specific spots in each level where you have a risk to drop your combo. Otherwise, for like 80% of the game, when you have experience, you won't drop your combo gouge if you're paying attention to it. So if you know what this guy on the screen is doing, you tell me, because that's catastrophic. This first pattern is actually a bit confusing for me. So I died quite a number of times to it. I don't know why, because this boss, for most people, will look easy. So the bosses in this game won't give you that many points. You can get more points than what I'm doing. I think if you're doing like a somewhat optimal scoring of the bosses, you get maybe 100 million points on the whole game, more than what I'm doing. But I prefer doing like a speed run of the bosses, because since it's not giving you that many points, if you kill the boss faster, you can reset faster, so do more runs, and you'll see like in stage 5, you can lose or gain 100 million points in the blink of an eye. So it's better to get many stage 5 to get the opportunity to get the points, rather than spending 5 more minutes to get 20 more millions on full bosses. So that's it for the basics. I will talk a bit about more advanced techniques. Like in this spot, you see, I try to throw orbs on as little enemies as possible, because orbs are not really getting you the points. And here you see I'm shooting and stopping, because the katana parts I get depend on the number of katanas I have. So I want to update the number of katanas the game knows that I have, to get more katana parts every time I kill an enemy. So I think I'll talk a bit about game design. So look at my rapid shot, you see it's appearing like by magic from behind my ship. I think that's a very cool idea, because maybe you've noticed I'm point blanking enemies from behind. I'm getting behind enemies and I'm shooting them. So that's a very interesting mechanic that's specific to type B. And I think it kinda solves the problem you have in some horizontal shmups, which is that it feels natural to go all the way to the right of the screen, but you're often trapped by the fact that you cannot shoot backwards. So in Death Smiles, you can shoot backwards, but in most games you can't. And I think that in Death Smiles it still feels a bit strange to have a different button to shoot backwards, have some arrows to tell you where you should shoot. In this game you can shoot backwards at any time by going behind the enemy and causing it. And also, if you've noticed, my option is kinda living a life of its own, because it has a homing shot. So I'm controlling my option. The moves of your option depend on what you're doing and the moves you're doing, but you don't have to pay that much attention to it. Like you can spend maybe 80% of the game not looking at what your option is doing. And there are spots where it's very interesting to really direct your option. But most of the game you can ignore it, and I think it's a good thing, especially for beginners, because it can be quite a pain to master really what your option is doing, because it constrains your movement. Here you feel extremely free. So I'm talking mostly about Type B, because it's a very fast ship, it's very powerful, it has a homing option, you can shoot backwards, you're really completely free by playing Type B, and it's extremely fun to play. So we're reaching the third boss, and we'll see a thing which is that when you collect a bomb, you cancel the bullets on the screen. So you can use this to skip a pattern you don't like and get a small amount of points as well. So you see I'm point blanking from behind, and that's actually the most efficient point blanking. You're getting more items when you're point blanking from behind than you're getting when you're point blanking from the front. So that makes some very interesting routing issues, and you have to try to get behind enemies to get more resources. So you see when you see my score is 1.5 billion, and when I'm shooting all those katanas on the boss, I'm getting only around 3 millions, I believe. So you see, scoring bosses is not that interesting. Even if you're doing it like perfectly, maybe you're getting 10 millions. So nothing to die for. So those lasers are an interesting part of the game, because when you kill an enemy with lasers out, all the laser is transformed into items. So you can use it, you see, to fill your energy gauge in full by killing the boss when the lasers are out. So I have a full energy gauge to begin the stage, and when I have a full energy gauge, I have a bonus for getting steel. So I'm using it here. I just killed a bunch of enemies and I got half of the possible number of orbs. And I have quite a lot of katanas to get points. So the more katanas you have, the maximum number is 16, and the more points you're getting, and also the safer you are, because when you're shooting all those katanas, you're cancelling the bullets, and so you can go safely closing in on the katanas. Because when you are riding the katanas in some way, you get more points, because, as I said, point blanking is super important in this game to get more items, and it works as well for points, because when you're point blanking the katanas, you're getting more points. So you have this kind of double routing, which is you have to route your item collecting, and you have to route exactly where you are shooting the katanas, because you want to build this setup where you have the highest amount of enemies to shoot with your katanas, and then once you have your shot, you have to follow along the katanas, and it's quite risky because the closer you get, the more points you get, but you will reach, we will see it in this shot, you are going to reach the zone where the bullets are cancelled. You see, basically 1 pixel further, I'm dead. So, and I died quite a number of times at this precise spot. So you really have to be careful about what you're doing, and that's quite challenging. I used to have a harder route in this spot, but I would never get the 140 million points. So 110 is okay, is better than having like 80 failing to get 140, like I did in the previous video you can see in the guide. So at this spot you can drop your chain. So when I drop my chain at this point, even the old lady upstairs who is deaf knows about it. So now we're getting into massive katana shots with the stage 4. You see, like, you're getting almost 200 million points with this. I didn't talk about bombs. In this game you have this specificity, which is that your bombs protect your chain. When you are bombing, your chain is full, so you can use bombs to keep your chain going and still collect items. So that's quite an interesting mechanic, and we are using it 3 times, I believe, in the run. Okay, we're reaching stage 4 boss. So we're also reaching stage 5, which is the stage where I make the highest amount of changes in my route. So I'll explain a bit in technical terms what I changed compared to what you can see in the guide. So I didn't talk that much about lasers. The thing is, lasers are doing some small amount of damage. So those ones are quite challenging actually, because it's hard to see exactly where they're going. And you will see later that when you get hit by a laser, you get energy in exchange for 10% of your life. So I use this intentionally 8 times in the run, but if you get hit 11 times, you die. So I have 2 jokers, I don't know if you can say it, 2 safety nets. So I had quite a bit of bad luck at this point, but since I had full energy, when you get hit when you are in phantom mode, you lose some energy, you don't lose life. So I had full energy bar, so I could take a hit and still survive. So that's a bit lucky, but I think it's the first time I got hit at this place specifically. It's generally easy for me. However, this spot is much harder, you'll see. And in the guide I bombed at this spot, but I had this idea to change into Phantom. It turns out you have just enough energy if you have a full energy guard to reach the spot where you can shoot the katana and kill the boss with the laser out and collect the energy for stage 5. So that's a much better route for killing this boss. I think you can copy all my bosses, because most of them are pretty beginner friendly, I believe. I'm trying to do the easiest possible way to kill them. So that's it, that's the serious part. In stage 5 I'm scoring more than I scored in all the first 4 stages. So really that's the most important part of the game. So I didn't talk about suicide bullets, I believe. So when you're in Phantom and you kill an enemy, there is suicide bullets on the screen. So you have to be very careful about them. So what I changed here is that for the moment it's the same as in the guide, but when the mid-boss will come, you see, I used to bomb twice against the mid-boss, but I found the possibility to bomb only once, but it's extremely precise. You can lose your run very easily at this spot, because I'm getting just enough energy, and when I kill this mid-boss, it cancels the bullet from the turrets, and you have a new wave of helicopters you don't get if you bomb twice, because you're not going fast enough. And then you have the opportunity to kill more enemies with your katanas. The angle was not perfect, I can get maybe 170 millions with a perfect angle. And that's better than bombing twice, but it's also much harder. So here, to get technical, you see some of my orbs didn't touch enemies, so I don't have enough katanas in this spot compared to what I usually have. So I'm only getting 20 million less than usual. Interesting thing is that I warned in the guide, beware, you can be touched twice, and I got touched twice by the laser, so I used one of my safety nets, and I only have one safety net now for the laser hits. So one thing is, when you get massive shots, you disappear behind the points. It looks super cool, it feels good the first time, but problem is, bullets disappear as well, enemies disappear as well, and sometimes you can get killed because there is a danger you couldn't see. So there are a few spots where it's a bit tricky. So in this spot, actually, depending on exactly the moment you shoot the katanas, the helicopters that will survive are not the same. And at this spot, I really thought I was going to die because that was the wrong helicopter that survived, but it turned out they didn't come to me. There is a trade-off here, which is if you kill too many helicopters, you get more katanas, but you won't have enough helicopters to shoot on, and you get less points. So I didn't get enough, I believe, here. Could have gotten maybe 30 million more. So now we're getting into the last part of the stage, and that's the most important part of the game. You can get around 1.3, 1.4 billion points if you do it perfectly. So I think I'm getting 1 to 50, something like this. That's a tough part. But if you want to get full orbs, you have to go through this. You cannot simplify it. If you go 1 pixel below, you can kill the tanks below as well and get more points than that, but sadly it was slightly too high. So I was very lucky at this spot because you can get hit by the lasers. That happens a lot. I don't know how you can prevent it because you disappear behind the bullets, so you cannot be really sure where you are. And I made a terrible technical mistake at this point because I let the laser touch me. And it turned out fine, but it's hard to explain. When the laser touches you, you get steel. So I had a bullet of steel that I was forced to throw, and I lost katana parts because I shot the enemies with the steel that I wanted to shoot with the katana shot. So it's a bit technical, but I lost maybe 20 million points because of that. So I couldn't show you the 400 million points shot. I only had 375. So this boss is very overwhelming when you are a beginner, but I think you can tame it quite well with knowledge. Because it's a lot of impressive stuff, but it's not that hard, I believe. You have this giant ship, you have those bullets coming from strange places. You can dodge from within the pink bullets, but it's a bit dangerous. It's better to macro dodge them. You have to destroy the turrets because they're really dangerous. So now there is this phase where you have all these grenades coming, and if you stay in this spot, you're pretty safe. However, the lasers have a pushback, so you have to be aware of this and compensate. You can use the wall to help you, because if you're pushed against the wall, it doesn't change anything. And now with a perfect katana shot, you can cancel those lasers, cancel the bullets, avoid getting hit, and survive. But if you can't do the katana shot, I don't believe you can go out of this unharmed, you know. You're pretty much forced to bomb. So we're getting full energy as usual to enter into stage 6. And since it was done well, I didn't have to dodge anything. If you miss a bit the angle on the katana shot, you will be forced to dodge one more pattern. So the stage 6 which is coming is actually my personal best, because there is a rank in this game, I didn't talk about it. When you are novice, there are more bullets on the screen. And the thing is, you don't get points by cancelling bullets, you get points by killing enemies. But when there are more bullets on the screen, there are more slowdowns as well. And so it's much easier to really place you very well to point blank the katanas and get as many points as possible. You know, because with better slowdown, it's easier to place yourself. It's, I think, easy to understand. So you get a bit more points when the rank is higher. However, you see there are a lot of bullets, so you have to be careful. So at the end of this shot, you disappear, and that's one of those difficult spots where you have to know, because if you don't move, you're dead, and you can't even see the bullets which kills you. But that's a problem for high-level players, because you're not getting those massive cancels if you are a beginner. So I was a bit too far here, so I prefer to leave. I could have stayed a bit closer and get a bit more points. So I used to do a harder tactic here, which is to go down the ship and throw the orbs on the ship and not on the mid-boss. But maybe you saw my combo gouge was dropping really fast, so it's very dangerous. You can drop your combo gouge. I lost an extremely good run to this, so I decided to go back to the easier strategy. I tried to let the turret alive, but I failed. So I'm losing 10 million points, something like this. You see, once again, massive slowdown, but it's not dangerous in this case. There is nothing that can kill you. For this shot, I very recently changed my route, and I decided to go higher on the screen and shoot downward. But I forgot to do it here, so I'm getting less points. I did not kill the tanks with this shot. So that's a tricky part. That's a very tricky part. But that's also one of the higher scoring parts in the game. So you have to train it really hard. So that's another one of those spots where you disappear and it's dangerous. Because the plane is shooting down and you can't even see what it's doing. But there is a safe spot just before the wing of the plane. So you have to reach it. And I was lucky, I did not disappear that much. So you see, I'm getting those laser hits to get energy. And then I'm sitting on the laser because it gives me orbs. A very technical part here, because if you have one orb left and you try to kill the helicopters with your sword, with your katana shot, I mean, you will destroy the helicopters you want to kill with the katanas, and you will lose a lot of points. So you have to be extremely precise. So leaving the tank alive is a small optimization that allows to get more points. That's a double hit, you see. So I was extremely scared at this point because I had used my last safety net, and there was still one hard technique I wanted to do, and I avoided it because you see, I could get hit by this laser and get change immediately to Phantom. It gives more points, like 30 million more, but you see the laser was out while there was a massive slowdown, so it's much harder to get the exact frame when you want to transform to avoid getting the double hit. And since I didn't have any hit left, I was forced to not do the technique. It was not worth it. So I was lucky here. That's my favorite pattern because you have one chance out of 2 to get this pattern. There is another pattern which is harder to understand. So that was the easy one. So I have a plant bomb at this point because when you're leaving the end of the screen here, it's pretty dangerous. And also, once again, you have one chance out of 2 to get a good pattern or a sad pattern. And I got the sad pattern. So I decided to bomb a second time because it was completely out of the question to die at this point. I wanted to reach the TLB. So you reach the TLB if you no-miss the game. And that's the last boss of the game before the TLB. So I thought, okay, I'm not taking any chances. So here in my speedrun boss, if you throw a bomb just when you hear the lasers, you will be just in time to destroy the boss with the lasers out and get full energy gauge. So I'm one bomb down compared to what I usually do, and I'm going to use the other one because if you go down, it's easier to dodge, but I wanted to stay in the center to throw the katanas, and that was a mistake, so I was forced to bomb because there was no space to dodge the bullets. So if you are in this spot, you have 0 bomb, you have 0 laser hit remaining, it is completely impossible to no miss the TLB which is coming, because you have at least to take a laser hit to no miss the TLB. So I know I'm going to die at some point, but when you die you get 3 bombs though, so that's a very good thing. That's much easier. So this first phase is quite easy if you're lucky, but the bullets came down much faster than usual. So I didn't have that much energy, and usually I have a katana at this point, but I didn't have it, so I was surprised and died. So I didn't know where I was, so I bombed, just to be sure. And now I'm reaching the tap dodging part. So this tap dodging is not that difficult, but you have to be really careful. You do once right, once left, and you just don't stop. Because it's very fast, and you can die pretty easily if you miss one input. So at this point I was a bit relieved. You can go closer to get more steel, but I didn't want to do the dumbest death in the history of the game, so I just stayed a bit away to be safe. So all this is pretty impressive, but it's not that hard to dodge. It's quite slow when you're in phantom form. But of course, if you're in plane, it's basically impossible to dodge. But when you're in phantom form, you have some form of slowdown, so you can dodge. I was a bit lucky here, because I got all the steel, and so I can do one big cancel, because this pattern is basically impossible to dodge if you're not really manipulating it. So as I was here, like, just staying somewhere, I had no chance to dodge it. So that's it for the run. There are many small mistakes in the run. Like if I do a perfect run, I can do maybe 8 billion points. But I think it's pretty good. That was very hard to get. I had a bit of frustration at some points, but just reaching the end like this was very, I don't know, amazing. Like the feeling was incredible. With all those hours of training, finally doing it, finally doing a somewhat perfect run from start to finish with the TLB, etc. That was crazy for me. So I think that's a magnificent game with beautiful graphics, cool music, a very aggressive gameplay, a lot of possibilities. With Type B you can go fast, you can hit strong, You can shoot katanas in all directions. You can really be imaginative. There are still a lot of things to discover in this game. You know, Nitiku has scored 9.9 billion points, so 2 more billions points than what I'm doing. There is no video, so there is still a lot of things to discover. I have no idea how he's doing it, and I don't think anyone has any idea except him. So you still have a lot to discover, and I think it's a very fun game to score, even if you're a beginner. Even scoring like 1 billion, you still have this amazing feeling to throw the katanas, go in, get the points. So I really recommend this game. And I was somewhat the last player on Steam, according to Steam DB. So I hope someone takes the torch and continue playing. But I've played enough for the time being, so I'll stop at least for a few months. Okay, so that was the video. Thank you for watching. Have a good time playing Akai Katana Shin.